And as you guys know, we're going to be talking about the Z word, the Z word, the final word, the final letter in the alphabet. Oh, this has been fun. All right, and we are going to get started now. All right, you are joined me for another broadcast of Strategy Sunday with Dr. Ken. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Richmond, board certified psychiatrist, veteran, and corporate leadership coach. I help corporate leaders pinpoint leadership issues so we can develop thriving workplaces with less turnover, improve workplace morale, and increase organizational performance. Today, we're going to be talking about the Z word, invigorate your organization. So yes, the Z word. So I'd like for my audience members to start putting what they think the Z word is today. Just put your guesses in there. Some of you gave me some suggestions on what word to use, and it was one of those words that I chose. So let me see what guesses we may have for today's Z word. And as I was mentioning earlier, this is the final letter in the alphabet of the series that I've been doing over the last 26 weeks, or 25 weeks. This will be the 26th week, related to terminologies we can apply to businesses or organizations or life, and seeing how we can make a difference, in terms of doing things in a different way than what we've been functioning and doing it as. Let's see, we have some suggestions popping up. But just to finish off my original thought there, I just want to thank you all for supporting me and getting me to this point and tuning in weekly over the last 25 weeks. Today will be the 26th week, as we went through everything from literally A to now we're at Z. All right, so let me check in and see what guesses we have. We have Zest, we have Zeal, we have Zest, we have Zealous. Hey, thank you, Susan, for tuning in. Thank you, Amber, for tuning in. Dr. Dietrich says, Zeal. Oh, wow, we got some good ones today. Yeah, the Z's are pretty limited, but very strong in terms of their meaning. So, any other guesses before we get on here? Thank you, Dr. Dietrich. All right, so we got Zeal, Zest, Zealous. All right, all good guesses there. So the Z word that we're going to be talking about today is Zest. The Z word is Zest. And Zest, as I'll define it today, is the emotional flexibility to live with burning enthusiasm and vigor. Again, Zest is the emotional flexibility to live with burning enthusiasm and vigor. What do we think about that? Right? So when we think about this word, it's an important aspect of life. It's an important aspect of our physical health. It's an important aspect of our mental health. And for many of us right now, our mental health is definitely being strained. Okay, we may have seen someone who we may have said, hey, they lost their zest for life. Their heart is not in it as much as it used to be. There's no excitement for that individual. Can you identify anybody in your life like that? Well, instead, their zest may have been replaced by things like burnout, compassion fatigue, and overall just job dissatisfaction. Are you struggling with a loss of zest in your life, a loss of zest in your organization? But what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about some of the benefits of zestfulness, the cost of being zestless, and then we'll actually go through some tips and strategies to restore and nurture zest in your workplace. Sounds like a plan? All right. So as usual, as I go through the benefits of being zestful, you can put your thoughts in the comments, and I'll be happy to highlight it throughout this broadcast. Some of the benefits of being zestful are as follows. 1, it creates optimism. It also helps one develop or display their empathy, as well as gratitude. And as we know, gratitude is a big thing right now. How are we expressing our gratefulness for things in our life, situations we may be in? How do we maintain that level of calm, that level of graciousness when we, encounter disappointment and difficulty? Dr. Dietrich is on today's broadcast, and she has a book um, relax well. She's known as a relaxation doctor, so you can always find her. Just I'll put her link in the comment section after today's broadcast. But yeah, she focuses on gratitude. Effectively, having more gratitude, empathy, and optimism can help to build more zest in your life as well as in the workplace. When someone is zestful, there's also an intrinsic motivation to do things. In other words, it's innate. They want to get things done. Their confidence level could be much higher than somebody who lacks zest in their life or within the organization. And in so doing, with increased confidence, you may have increased ambition to try things, increased ambition to put yourself in situations or put yourself in leadership roles or increase your responsibility so that you can help your coworkers out as well as your organization. Having zestfulness also creates a sense of having a positive mindset. I mentioned in an earlier broadcast that 70% of our thoughts are negative, 30% of our thoughts are positive. So individuals who are zestful, they have an ability to maintain and bolster that 30% of their thoughts that are positive, effectively making it contagious and hopefully spreading that to individuals who would need a little boost. Zestfulness also allows individuals to have what I call perceptual clarity. There's no fogginess. They see things for what it is or what they are. And they have a different view on how a situation could unfold or how it could be affecting others. And lastly, what I want to mention about being zestful is that individuals perform tasks in a more wholehearted manner. And in fact, they tend to be more focused. What are some of the other benefits that you can think of by being zestful? All right, so we have some highlights here. So we have it's contagious positive energy. Absolutely, I would agree with that. Okay. So let's transition into some of the costs of being zestless. Zestless. You can imagine that one? Well, let's go through some of those costs. When somebody's just, they're not full of energy, so the opposite would be they drain energy, right? So here are some of the costs as I've identified them. There's a lack of passion. There's a lack of passion. It's just no longer there, right? That job that they once found enjoyable or that you saw them enjoy is no longer an enjoyable job to that person. So it's going to create a significant cost. They tend to be irritable. Little things get under their skin. That job, they've been in that position for a long time, or maybe even a short time. And all of a sudden, that irritability, short fuse, argumentativeness, is that even a word? But they're argumentative. Those behaviors start to happen more frequently. There's a general sense that they're unhappy. There's no zest, right? We said that zest is to have that flexibility to show enthusiasm and vigor. This is definitely the opposite of that. They tend to be stagnant. They're not sure which way to go. They're stuck. Effectively, they're stuck. Emotionally stuck, right? It's hard for them to express that emotion. There is minimal or no motivation to do anything. Compare that to the benefit of having zest, where there's ambition to do certain things. Individuals who are zestless, they also tend to be less creative, right? They're bogged down with the humdrum of just the workplace, the routine, or even some things that may be mundane to them. Others looking on the outside, you may say, hey, they have a good job, they have everything going for themselves, but personally, they're not satisfied. And that can be a real cost to that individual as well as to that organization. Individuals who are zestless have what I call distorted perspectives. So in other words, having zest allows you to empathize with individuals. But if you have a distorted perspective, you cannot see a situation from another person's perspective. So your view on something may differ drastically from what 90% of other people may view and come up with a conclusion on. Individuals who are zestless tend to be unenthusiastic, right? That's a direct opposite of being zestful. And lastly, I want to mention that another cost of being zestless is that it creates toxic stress, unhealthy work environments, and that in itself becomes contagious. So what are some of the other costs of being zestless? Can you identify? Put it in the comments. I'll be happy to read them. All right, so let's check in here. So we have Susan says, people want to be around you when you have zest. It rubs off and creates a more positive work environment. Thank you, Susan, for emphasizing that. Edwin Reyes, thank you for joining. He says, extrovert. All right, so that's a good benefit of being zestful. And I think you are the world's greatest extrovert out there in Washington State. Dwayne, thank you for joining. He says, it reduces stress. Edwin says another benefit is that it makes you courageous. Well, thank you all for participating and adding that adding to the conversation today. And Dr. Dietrich says better productivity. That's another benefit. And Dr. Dietrich also mentioned some of the costs of being zestless. It decreases productivity. And it makes someone appear as perceived as unapproachable. All right. Well, you guys are getting it today. You guys have a lot of zest on this for this broadcast. Definitely appreciate it. Keeps me going. All right. So what we're going to do right now is transition into my tips and strategies to nurture zest at the workplace. How many of you guys want to know how to do that? Nurture zest at the workplace. Again, these tips can easily be transferred and generalized to your life, situations you may be in. So don't look at it as just being isolated to the workplace. It's definitely something that I wanted to be generalized. So again, this is Dr. Ken, your board certified psychiatrist, veteran, and corporate leadership coach. I help corporate leaders pinpoint leadership issues so we can develop thriving workplaces with less turnover, improve workplace morale, and increase organizational performance. Here are my tips and strategies to nurture zest at work. 1, engage in energy boosting activities. 2, revisit your purpose. And 3, be a leader's leader. So let's take a deeper dive into what I mean by those. First one, engage in energy boosting activities. So all this means is that, have you ever been in a situation where you've been around people who are doing exactly what they want to be doing and hear them complain? I doubt it, because people are hardly complaining when they're doing things that they actually love to do. They may say things like, I'm tired, but I wouldn't, I enjoy what I'm doing, or it's well worth it, or some positive comment follows whatever stress and strain they may be experiencing. The fact is, they are engaging in an energy boosting activity because it gives them some degree of enthusiasm, restores some degree of, energy to them, vigor, as I defined it earlier. So recall the way you felt after doing a work-related activity that you really enjoyed. Just try to imagine that moment, that moment for a second. Now add on top of that the thrill you had when you achieved a certain goal. You done that? Now I want you to imagine and really remember the people who were also around you to help you celebrate that moment, that feeling, that accomplishment. If you can capture and cultivate more of those experiences, you are likely to restore zest in your life. My second tip, revisit your purpose. So what I mean here is that I want you to avoid getting stuck on autopilot. Just going through your day, just existing. We want to revisit our purpose. So an essential character strength is recognizing when we are depleted, when we are stuck in a rut. However, we must now make an effort to focus, to sharpen our focus on the fundamental reason why we do the work we do. I want to help organizations. I want to, affect the workplace health because I see that as a direct impact on one's mental health. So why not start with the workplace? Okay, so that's kind of my purpose in terms of why I do what I do. What is your purpose? Have we revisited that lately? So if you're unable to find your purpose at this very moment, Go ahead and ask someone who you believe is living theirs. They're living in their purpose. How are they able to do that? Express that curiosity so that it helps give you some clarity. The last tip, be a leader's leader. So as we find ways to motivate, to support, and validate behaviors that are desirable, for others, we must also do that for ourselves. Okay? So in a time when someone feels like their sacrifice is not being acknowledged, acknowledge it. If they seem misunderstood, seek to understand them. If you see them struggling, lend them a hand. If they ask for help, help them. Zest can be sustained, and as leaders, we must be unapologetically deliberate in the way we choose to keep it alive. Folks, you have been listening to a broadcast of Strategy Sunday with Dr. Ken. I appreciate you all for tuning in. You can follow me on all social media at Dr. Ken Richmond. That's DrKenRichmond. I look forward to seeing what 2020 brings for you, for all of us, for the world in this for the world for that matter. But for right now, we just want to increase a little bit of zest in the workplace. Hopefully, those tips, those strategies that I presented above or earlier are helpful to you. If it is, just leave a comment in the chat, and I'll be happy to respond to you. And let me take a moment right now to see who else joined and see what other thoughts they're able to offer us. So, hello, Myra. Thank you for joining. Victoria, hey, thank you for joining. Victoria says, loving what you do allows increased enthusiasm and creativity. Absolutely. Dr. Kadisha emphasizes point number 2. Prima says 100. Appreciate that. Thank you for joining. Purpose in life is necessary. And let's see, Susan says, ending on a high note, full of zest. Thank you, Susan, for pointing that out. Let's see what we got here. Suprema says, support is automatic and should be authentic if you consider yourself a leader. Let's build us all. You have done a great job with your strategies. Thank you. Oh, okay, I shouldn't have read that part, but thank you, Primus. All right, that's all I have for today. Again, you guys can follow me at drkenrichmond.com. That's DrKenRichmond.com. I will be checking in on Thursday for TBD Thursday. So look forward to seeing who is able to tune in then, seeing how much zest you were able to add to your life and workplace, especially after things like Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday or Cyber Week or whatever is going to be happening there. But congratulations to everyone who was successful in their Black Friday and cyber sales. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next broadcast. Have a good evening.